the spring of 2019, I took myself for a drive out. I was feeling a bit low and just needed to get out. Just following my nose, I randomly found myself turning into Appleby Village. And as I turned into the main green, what I was confronted with was a big, dark tree with no leaves, bare and stark against the blue sky. And it screamed the cross. And it caught my attention. But quickly after that, what caught my attention was the mass of daffodils that surrounded it and surrounded all of that big village green. A profusion of bright, dazzling yellow was everywhere. And the whole scene literally made me stop the car. I was pulled to a halt. And I got out and I had a walk round and I took lots of photos, as I tend to do. This painting was sold pretty soon after it was painted, but this is a print of it. And to me, it says Easter. It just is my interpretation of Easter. We have got the tree, dark and stark. And if you look really closely, just there's a little crown of thorns to represent Jesus and his suffering. And in that dark tree, it holds all our suffering, the times when we're down, the times when it feels bleak, the times when life seems to be just so hard to cling on to or so far away. But surrounding that, there are the daffodils. Bright, vibrant yellow, full of life, defying the cold, just springing up and being there. In the midst of this, I deliberately drew the shadow as a definite cross. So even in the midst of all of the bright light of the daffodils, the shadow of the cross is always there. We don't run away from it. It is in the midst of life, just as this tree is in the midst of the village, full of our day-to-day life. But the new life, the hope of resurrection, is in that yellow ring of daffodils. And if we're thinking about colours, yellow represents the Holy Spirit. And so we have the sacrifice of Jesus, the hope and fact of resurrection, and the power of the Holy Spirit in the middle of a village, in the middle of our communities. Around that tree, the villagers have built a seat. And it's beautiful and it's lovely. And I've left a little hat on that seat. And on that hat is a purple ribbon. And that purple ribbon is to remind us that Jesus didn't stay on the tree at all. He rose to life, but he didn't stay here with us. He ascended, and he is now in heaven with the Father, reigning, King of kings, Lord of lords, alive. And so there, for me, is my Easter picture. The cross, the resurrection, the Holy Spirit, and the deity of Jesus. And all of that isn't distant, isn't something out there that we can't attain to. It is all in the midst of a community. So as we look at Easter, let's remember that it is something that's close to us, that is part of our lives, that is in our communities.